Hello friends and beautiful seeker. In this video, I am really talking about and focusing on the increase in psychic attacks, specifically against starseeds right now, and how to better protect yourself, especially if you're a starseed, but if you're not a starseed as well and you feel yourself, activating and going through this ascension process. So I'm excited and nervous to share with you. I'm also going to share with you a personal experience that just happened today as I'm filming this video, and just all the connections and synchronicities that I have made within such a short span of time as well. And it's just, my mind is blown, honestly. Okay, let me start with my own personal experience, because, you guys, you really should listen to this, because it's going to I feel like it's going to validate a lot of you, especially starseeds watching, and it's just incredible. So, okay, I currently am out of work right now, your traditional, job, my day job. I'm off work right now due to an injury that happened on my job. So I have workers' comp, okay? And so that injury that happened has affected my upper back and chest area, okay? So I'm in a lot of pain. Obviously, I'm using some painkillers and whatnot, but in a lot of pain and discomfort with that misalignment and strain or whatever is going on. And so, let me regain my focus here. So anyways, so that's what's going on with me physically, okay? This all is a part of the psychic attack that is happening with me, and that these types of intense and real psychic attacks are happening with a lot of starseeds. So we're going to get more into that. But so I was at the coffee house today, and it's been around 2 weeks since this has been going on with me. This woman was sitting beside me. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of looking down at the notes that I made here, but the woman was sitting beside me at the coffee house, and she was on the phone. She was on the phone with a friend or whoever. And she spoke of being in pain with upper back and chest problems. Her left side specifically, where the heart is, being affected just like me. It's mostly happening, like I have a bump developing now on my left-hand side, like right above my heart. This all ties in, okay? So bear with me here. This all connects. And so this really validated me. This is why I'm making this video and sharing this with you. It just it just solidified and validated like why I needed to share this with you guys. So anyways, I'm just kind of trying to follow my notes here. Oh, so you might just say, yeah, I think this is what I want to talk about next. So I know a lot of you are just like, well, that's a coincidence. And maybe it's just a coincidence. Okay? But let's evaluate a little further here, and see if it's, more true, or if it's a psychic attack, Basically, how to identify this as a psychic attack and not just some physical coincidence and mishap. Okay, so let's look at medical astrology real quick. Okay, medical astrology helped me pinpoint this a little further, and it can with you. So medical astrology can pinpoint the most sensitive areas of the body, the areas of the body that you are weakest at for each zodiac sign. And you want to look at your rising sign, okay? Your rising sign is what is basically going to link this information for you. I'm a Leo rising. And what is Leo's most sensitive or weak, so to speak, part of the body? It is the back, it is the spine, and it is the heart. And many of you already know that because we talk about Leo being, heart-centered energy in the heart chakra area and all that. So many of you are familiar with this already. So that's my physical problem area, is it not? Upper chest, back, heart area is affected. I can't even take full deep breaths right now because it hurts. So continue to bear with me here. So there's that. And in that moment too, I just want to say this, as I was listening to this woman beside me at the coffee house talk about it, I was informed by my spirit guides that she was a starseed. And this is sort of connects to what I was writing and working on at the coffee house and just the work that I've been exposing recently. But anyways, she was a starseed and same problem area. I mean, I would be so curious and would love to know what her rising sign was, but let's move on. So I did mention, I've recently watched other psychics and starseeds who have come out publicly, who are talking and sharing a lot of the same information I am, but also different, on YouTube, on their social media. They're being public about this. And a lot of these psychics, a lot of these starseeds are speaking of recent, like in the last few months or in the last few days, speaking of recent psychic attacks and psychic attacks that they've never had before. And so, I've never had this type of pain and discomfort. I've never had a physical problem, result like this, within my body. It's never happened before. And I'm clearly not that old, I'm 30 years old. But the timing, is it not just like super coincidental? Is the timing of this not it just almost makes sense. So hold on. I think I'm losing myself a little bit here. Oh, no, I'm right on topic. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just trying to stay a little more organized for you guys because a lot of information here. But, so this chest and heart pain that I'm going through, it started right around, because I've been off work, off my day job for around 2 weeks, okay? And it was around 2 weeks ago that I just started getting more active again and sharing this information with you guys on YouTube and whatnot. When I released, this happened right around when I released the Secrets of the Tree of Life and Society's Ascension video and the first Lyran channeling video that I did. This problem and psychic attack happened and started right around the release of all this content that I've been doing. And, I'm confident enough to say these videos that I've been doing, this is groundbreaking information and making groundbreaking connections. It is. So, yeah. So, moving on here. Oh, and here's a fun little fact. I finished writing this portion of my notes here at 2:22. I looked at my phone, I looked at the clock, 2:22. That tells me, like it tells many of you out there, that you're in alignment, that synchronicity is happening, that you are aware, more aware than you've ever been. That's what that is. That is that validation. So, boom, okay? So, basically now let's take it, I get back home. Okay, coffee house, what the woman was saying about her own chest and back problems, and what's going on with me, where it started, you know, the time frame. Okay, I'm back home today, and I see more crows or black ravens, whatever you want to call them, crows, outside my home. And they're also very specifically not that close. I might get into more of that and how you can protect yourself and set protective barriers part of this video. But anyways, the crows were sitting right outside, just sitting there and wandering. There's no dead animals out there. I've looked. I go out there all the time. I'm right beside a park. There's nothing dead out there. The crows, and it's 3 of them, just sitting out there. And I've never had this many like crows and big black ravens, whatever you want to call them again. I've never had them this many or consistently come. Like the last week especially, I've seen them appear, and they've been there more. Like I've never had that as long as I've lived in this particular place. So, you know, just throwing that out there. So, you know, let's look at the spiritual meaning of crows, of the black raven. Most of you watching, if you're psychic, if you're a starseed, you kind of already know what they represent, but you know, they basically can warn of dark forces or psychic attacks that are trying to infiltrate your barriers, you know, that are trying to attack you. So there's that. They can also warn of dark forces, you know, or the AI or Matrix attempting to read your thoughts to gather information to use against you, to disrupt your purpose and information that you are exposing. You know, whatever that means, whether you're exposing that information publicly online like this, or just talking about it with your friends and family, either way. So, the crows were there. Okay, so trust me, this gets more interesting. Make sure I'm kind of giving it to you in order of events, you know, in order of how it happened. Okay, medical astrology, blah, 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 la, la, la. Okay, I'll get to the tips for added protection in a minute. I am kind of sort of skipping around in my notes here. So, first of all, I want to mention, check out my new blog that I'll be releasing probably right around the time of this video, the Silver Sphinx Prophecies. This will explain a little bit more detail how things are connected and whatnot. The link for that blog will be below in the descriptions, of course. But in a nutshell, the Dark Forces AI Matrix does not want you to awaken, right? Or activate, especially the Starseeds right now. Point blank. Don't want you to awaken and activate. Activate is more the key word right now. We're kind of past more of that awakening point and sort of graduating to more of the activating, if that makes sense. So, also bear in mind, the Silver Sphinx Prophecies that I'm writing, that I'm channeling and writing right now, are not finished, but more is to come. And it's just, I felt guided to go ahead and share this information with you guys, like as it's coming, just as it's coming. But yeah, I'm going to continue to update this blog as more prophecies become clear and come to me. But I'm just being beckoned to really go ahead and get this information out, especially to help awaken you Starseeds. So anyways, back to the story. So the ravens, the crows showed up. Okay. And then comes to the park, and I've seen this man before, okay? But he comes to the park beside my place. He sits down on the earth and he meditates for a little bit, okay? And then I was like, well, I want to go outside and ground, and something about his presence and the whole situation is just calling to me, right? So I went outside and I took my cat with me. And then he gets up, this man, and he's tall. He has long blonde hair, all ties together. And he starts like making this shooting gesture at the crows. He starts choo-choo. And after he makes that shooting gesture at these crows, they scatter, they disappear, they go away. And I was just like, wow. Because I read further into it, and the universe told me that he's one of my protectors, and the universe reminded me that this man or image that he represents, the symbol, I guess you could say, that this tall man with blonde hair represents, it's a remembering. It was a remembering for me. So bear with me, because I'm getting to it. So in 2020, when I first started getting a little bit more connected, and connected to my psychic channeling abilities and more of the telepathic abilities, which I've spoken on. And I was, at the time, I was meditating. I joined the harmonic convergence. A lot of you are probably familiar with that. It's a big thing that happens. And their purpose is to make contact with extraterrestrials, higher beings, whatever you want to call them. So I was joining in with that. And the extraterrestrial higher being that I connected with, in my mind's eye, was a Nordic humanoid being with, who was tall, who had, obviously he was white, and had long blonde hair. So, he hasn't appeared to me in meditation or physically in any way since then, really, since that time period in 2020. Because then I started connecting more with the Lyrans and making that connection. But, so, here's where it gets even more interesting. I did a psychic reading with another psychic, Falcons and Pentacles. Maybe some of you watched her in the past, or watch her now. I don't know how active she is, but I did a reading with her. And in that personal reading, and this was around 2020 or 2021, she validated a lot of the psychic, connections, telepathic connections that I was making. She affirmed that. I told her nothing, and she psychically connected with that and affirmed it. So one of the first things she connected with and affirmed in that psychic reading she gave me was, she said, I'm connecting with this tall Nordic being with long blonde hair. That same description, came up in that reading. I told her nothing about that specific connection, or some of the other mannerisms that this being had, and she was able to pinpoint that. And so, anyways, this being basically has shown up in my life personally, and showed up before even the Lyrans did because of their protector role. And any psychic or any starseed knows this, really, that whenever you start really waking up and getting in touch with your psychic abilities and powers, the first thing that usually comes up for that developing starseed in psychic is protection, protection, protection. Like, all right, here are your spirit guides who are going to protect you. Here, here are the stones and the things that you can do to protect yourself better. That's one of the first things that comes up, because you have to know how to protect yourself at a deeper level, because you're working in the deeper realms, right? The more spiritual, unseen realms. So you have to learn how to protect yourself differently than physically, of course. And yeah, so anyways, so hang on, let me consult my notes here, because there's something else about this. Oh, the universe told me too that, so specifically these Nordic ET hybrids, or Nordic Pleiadian beings, hang on here. Basically, what am I trying to say? So a lot of the Nordic ET beings originate in the Pleiades. Okay, the Pleiades star system is like their home origin for a lot of them. And so whenever which I spoke about this in the first channeling with the Lyrans, whenever the Draconian War happened with the Lyrans and the Lyran system, a lot of the Lyrans fled to the Pleiades and made their colonies, there, safe haven, safe house, if you will, with the Pleiades. So it was around that time period, and this, of course, was a long time ago, but it was around that time period that the Lyrans made these connections and pacts, these pacts, and almost like a treaty with some of the Pleiadians and the Nordic humanoid beings. And that was this pact, basically, of protection. The Pleiadians, taking on more of that protector role, because the Lyrans were extremely threatened. They were being hunted and killed by the Draconians. There's a reason why, like, I think I briefly mentioned this in the channeling, but there's a reason why the Lyrans, especially the feline type Lyran beings, there's a reason why they're so hunted and whatnot by the Draconians, and why they're even wanted by a lot of other extraterrestrials or star systems out there. The Lyran feline beings have just supernatural abilities, basically, that are unique. It doesn't make them better than anyone else, but it makes them unique. And it was one of the things that the Draconians, it's one of the reasons why they attacked, and they had that war. But yeah, so moving on, this is all crazy, interesting information, but so yeah, okay, so I guess that basically concludes what I'm trying to say, and making the connections here with just everything. And the Nordic humanoid being, or hybrid being, that showed up and did what he did to scare away the crows. Of course, the crows, yes, they act more as like a sort of messenger in a lot of ways, for, like I said, warning. But also, there are some psychics out there who believe that they are sort of the messenger for the darker forces, right? The crows, ravens are the messenger for the matrix, for the AI, for the darker forces. So, just curious and interesting how this tall man with the blonde hair, who resembles those Nordic Pleiadians, and yada yada, just the gesture that he made, and scaring them off. And yeah, all within this time frame that I'm going through all this. So just, you know, very interesting, is it not? So anyways, other layer to this, which I'm gonna have to pause the video, I think, yeah, and go get my phone because I have screenshots that I need to share with you. But these screenshots relate to the spiritual meaning of a moth. So like I said, my black cat was outside with me too, who's my beautiful spirit animal, and he was playing with a moth. Obviously this doesn't happen every time we go outside, but yeah, he was playing with a moth, and he didn't kill the moth, he was just playing with it. So obviously I was beckoned to make more connections and just get more confirmation with everything that's going on with my body and these psychic attacks and how this is all relating to being psychically attacked, and how this is increasing for all the psychics, starseeds out there. But this spiritual meaning of the moth just ties into all of this so beautifully, and it's so cool. So I'm gonna basically, yeah, I'm gonna pause the video real quick, go get my phone so I can read that to you. Okay, so moths, and this is what I pulled, one of the first websites that I went to and information that I pulled. Moths represent transformation, hidden knowledge, inner wisdom, psychic abilities, and shadow work. In other words, the darker side to life, darker forces as well. They're connected to the moon, feminine, yin energies, and intuitive discoveries. They show up to help you discover your hidden desires and awaken to your true self and abilities. So then, also I thought this was interesting, the message they included with the moth. And it says, if you are searching for a deeper meaning to your life, the light you are looking for is inside of you, not outside of you. Your own inner light, your truth, your intuition, and higher self guide you to your highest path and truest nature. And I just thought that was so beautiful, especially as I myself and all of you other starseeds are awakening right now. You're really, and like I said, not just awakening, you are really starting to activate your psychic abilities, your telepathic abilities, your supernatural abilities. And being able to just connect the dots and to remember, like more profoundly, more detailed than ever before, as you see me doing here with this video and others. So, funny too, I wrote this down in my notes, moths are nocturnal creatures. But the most notable and interesting characteristic of a moth is its attraction to light. So I just thought that, I'm not gonna like read too much into that specifically, but I just thought that was interesting, and I'll let you guys read more into that yourselves, because I feel like it just speak to some of you. So the other little thing I wanted to mention, I think I'm going to be basically including this with the Silver Sphinx Prophecies that I'm writing. Again, that link will be below in the descriptions. But I wanted to mention this. One of the prophecies coming through is that, you know, you want more signs that the times are actually changing, that the ascension is actually happening. So one of those signs is that within the earth, within nature, you will see, and these are signs I have been seeing, nocturnal creatures come out into the daylight more. That is one of the signs of this big time period that we're in, of the ascension period that we're in, of the timeline change that is happening, of the density and new age that is happening. Nocturnal creatures will come out into the daylight more, so like moths, but also specifically one that was first shown to me was rabbits, or the hare. When the hare of spring, when that twilight, rabbits, hares are really twilight creatures. That's when they usually come out. But they're starting to come out more now in the daylight. I've seen them more than I've ever seen in my life. When I was a kid, I rarely, almost never saw the rabbits and the hares coming out in daylight. They're coming out in daylight more, as other nocturnal creatures will be. This is one of the signs. So, just making connection after connection. So after I finished this last page of notes, guess what I saw on the clock? 333. So more number synchronicity. It started with 222, 222, and ended with 333, 333. I was not looking out for it. It happened completely natural and organically. So, how much more confirmation, affirmation do we need? Right? And if you need more, sure, that's fine. But the message is also, the confirmation, affirmation is there. The awareness, changes within you are there. The ascension is happening. It is there. So, so many beautiful things. I'm blown away. I want to know if you other starseeds are going through psychic attacks, what those are looking like for you, what part of your psyche, what part of your body it's affecting. I'm just interested. And it just would affirm all of us to connect like this, which I know a lot of us are. Like I said, there's other psychics who are already talking about this and connecting with this. Sorry, just checking the battery life of my mic. So let's get to the how you can better protect yourself. And yes, I know a lot of you starseeds and psychics out there, sure, you're familiar with protection. But for those of you who are looking for just a little bit more intense protection, because starseeds are being more targeted right now. The 30%, like we've spoken of, and like the Silver Sphinx prophecy speaks of, starseeds, the 30%, are being targeted more, are being more intensely psychically attacked. And that is what I believe is happening to me with my back, chest, all these connections that we've made, and how it makes sense that it is connected to the non-physical, to a psychic attack and root. So just be aware and be cautious, starseeds. This is a critical time. Again, check out the Silver Sphinx prophecies, because this ties into that, and it's just woo. But so the other ways which you can strengthen your protection barriers. Okay, so this is what I was shown. Not only, of course, can getting a pet, getting your spirit animal help. So if you don't have a pet, if you've been thinking about getting a cat, and feel called, get yourself your familiar, your spirit animal. They will help, obviously. So there's that. For those of you who aren't there yet, yes, of course, crystals and stones, but more importantly, especially with your home, creating that grid with your home, those grid boundaries. So basically that means putting those protective stones, especially black ones like obsidian and black tourmaline and amber stones, garnet even, all those types. Smoky quartz is really good. I like using smoky quartz. But yeah, placing those in the four corners of your home. You can do it in each room, or you can do the two, corners of your home that are in the very back, and then the two corners in your home that are at the very front of your home. So, either way, it creates that grid, an energetic barrier, and, that grid protective, energetic protective barrier generally extends pretty far, outside your house too, just so you know. So it's not like just your house. But yeah, so that is an extra fortifying protective measure. Obviously, you're not always going to be at home, or your pet, your familiar, is not always going to be with you. So yes, that's where wearing certain crystals and stones, like I mentioned, can help you and make you more aware to protect yourself. But not just that, simply the more recharging you do in the sun, especially right now, sunlight is actually your friend, not your enemy, like a lot of them are trying to tell you. Sunlight, the more you recharge with it, and sure, it doesn't take that much, but regardless, the more you recharge with sunlight, especially right now while it's as strong as it is, with all the codes that are coming down from the sun, like I've talked about, it strengthens your aura and therefore the protection around you. And also the earth, simply grounding. Bare feet on the earth, okay? Grounding for real. That helps with the electrons and, just grounding. But it helps rejuvenate and heal and strengthen your aura, your energetic protection shield. Okay, so those are really simple and natural ways. I mean, all of it is simple and natural, really. But those are just things that you can do, that you can be more mindful of doing to keep your boundaries and yourself safe and protected from psychic attacks that are happening to me, to others out there. And you're not going to be completely, you may not be completely protected from this, There chances are, especially right now during this time period, chances are there are psychic attacks that are going to affect you, that are going to get through to you. But again, to lessen those at least, and to to lessen those, to create a little bit more ease and peace for you, Starseeds, create those extra boundaries of protection and be mindful. So yeah, that's really just what I want to say to you, and impress upon you. Again, check out the Silver Sphinx Prophecies. It elaborates on more why some of this is, why these psychic attacks are increasing right now, especially with the Starseeds. It all has to do with what's going on, our big shift, our big awakening, our timeline transition, whatever you want to call it. But that's where I'm going to leave this video. Check the descriptions box, like I said, for more information. Check out the channelings that I've been doing. And yeah. So until the next, probably Lyran channeling that I do, or whatever, much love being sent to you, and support. Protect yourselves. Okay?